Chicken! That's what we're making today. I've got a whole chicken here minus the bones. You might have this left over if you've decided to take it upon yourself and make some homemade chicken bouillon. Link up above, or down below, or somewhere. Now back to this chicken here. I have 2 breasts, 2 drums, and 2 thighs. This is the rest of the meat off of the chicken carcass. I'm Executive Chef James MacInnis, and I'm going to show you how to make a simple, under 30-minute dinner that you and a loved one can share. Let's start with my famous seasoning montage. We've got some salt, pepper, thyme going on. And then we also have cleaning out the cupboard, and we had a little half jar of Epicure roast chicken seasoning. It's basically paprika. We're adding some garlic powder and some onion powder into the mix. And then we're going to mix it up. We're going to add a little bit of oil now, so that way the seasonings can stick. And then just make sure you mix it all around thoroughly. Because I have deboned thighs, I'm going to roll them up so they cook evenly. Get some oil into our cast iron pan. And don't worry about it. You're going to think I'm overcrowding my pan, but there was just enough room to put the whole chicken in here. And that's what I did. I had the 2 breasts, the 2 thighs, the 2 drums. Now, after you flip it, there's going to be a little more room because the chicken's going to contract the first time you lift it off the pan. And this is the only time you're really going to see the drums and thighs. They're not part of the dish. I just had them. And they did make for a good lunch, but it wasn't the focal point of the dinner. So we put the thighs and drums into the oven on a mini baking sheet, and they cooked for about 15 minutes. Now for the chicken breasts, let's get some carrots in there, and that's going to be our vegetable for our dinner, and we're going to put that in the oven. Now, like I said, we're doing this in 25 minutes or less, so everything else gets done now that the chicken's in. We're going to prepare a compound butter with the same seasonings as before. If you have room temperature butter, you can mix it up right away. Otherwise, you might have to put this in the microwave for a few minutes. Now, you're not missing anything special there. All I did was boil up some cauliflower to get it into my food processor. Cauliflower puree, although a vegetable, is serving as the starch component for this dinner. There you are with me figuring out I need the stick and then figuring out how much water I need. So with the stick in there, we can then force in a piece of butter, and you can see that look on my face. I'm trying to look badass. I'm trying to look like I know what I'm doing. I mean, I do know what I do, but you know. So anyways, make sure you taste it. After I tasted it, I was like, okay, I need a little salt and a little pepper. So let's put those in and give it a quick pulse to mix everything up. Now that our chicken is basically done, I'm going to use that compound butter for a basting. I get that butter all melted. And just like when you baste a steak right at the end, I thought I'd try it with chicken. I haven't seen too many videos where people do it on chicken, and I thought, why not? And it gave the skin an extra crunch, and it packed so much more flavor into it. All right, now for plating. I chose a high contrast plate for this. The blue really contrasts with the white of the cauliflower puree. And then we have our orange carrots and our delicious chicken. And there you have it. I cooked this delicious looking chicken supreme with pan roasted carrots and cauliflower puree. And I did this all in about 25 minutes. I'm going to cut into the chicken now. From that extra butter base at the end, that chicken has a whole nother level of richness. The baby carrots, more sweet than full-size carrots, especially after that little roast. And the puree, right amount of salt and pepper. Just be careful when you play around with the water that you don't go too thin or too thick. Well, if you go too thick, you can always water it back out. I definitely think throwing in that butter at the end was the right call. But I probably could have made it a little less runny. If you make it perfect every time, you don't need to be watching videos. because you already know what you're doing, just like me. Anyways, thanks for coming out to my kitchen this week.